My mother-in-law hates me. My mother-in-law is trying to control my home. My mother hates my wife for no reason. My mother-in-law slapped me. All over the internet, it's all about the mothers-in-law, how wicked the mothers-in-law are. And one has to ask themselves, what is going on with society today? Why does everyone want to blame it on the mothers-in-law? These are mothers that have worked hard and raised their children for years to make them the kind of men that women are marrying. And then what happens? Every problem in the home, every problem in the marriage, you want to blame it on the mother-in-law. If she didn't do it physically, she did it spiritually, or she went to a witch doctor, or whatever. Can't you give mothers-in-law a break? So here's my advice for all mothers-in-law out there. Advice number 1, mind your own business. Advice number 2, mind your own business. Advice number 3, mind your own business. Advice number 4, don't give unsolicited advice. And even when giving advice, be very restrained. And finally, advice number 5, show some empathy and sympathy for your daughter-in-law despite all odds. See, the truth about it is that even before these sons married these women, they had already started cutting you out of their life. They're adults. They don't need you. They have to make their own decisions and live their own life now. And yes, probably they needed your company more before they had a wife. But now they're with their wife. And they will tell you a man and a woman join together to become one. So good. But becoming one does not mean they should abandon their mothers, does not mean they should divorce their mothers. And when these women come into their life, they think you should divorce your children, and they now form a new life with them as if both of you were competing. So mind your own business. When they want you, they will come for you. And if they don't come for you, get used to life on your own. Think of other things to occupy you, other activities. We've lived our life and we're living ours. Just allow them to live theirs. That's the way the world works today. It's the painful truth, but as soon as you learn to accept this truth and reality, you'll be a much happier person. Stop putting too much expectation on your children. If they want to go, let them go. If they need you, they will come back. But most daughters-in-law, they come into this marriage and they think you should go. So what do you do about that? Nothing. Go before you are sent packing. Keep your pride and stay on your own. Mind your own business. If the marriage works out, good for them. If the marriage doesn't work out, then that's just too bad. But if you are in the middle of what is happening there, anything that goes wrong, the blame will be put on you. So mind your own business and live your own life. Control your own home. Mind your own business and let them do their things. It starts from the wedding preparation. Let them do their things the way they want. The only thing you have to do is to attend. If they tell you to do something, you do what you can. What you can't, you say you are sorry. Learn to mind your own business. Whatever they're taking decisions for, it doesn't have to disturb you. These young adults, they have to make their own mistakes. They have to learn to deal with themselves. They have to learn to quarrel and make up. If you keep coming in between them, it's never going to end. They keep coming back. They keep putting you in the middle of their quarrels. Learn to mind your own business and be a happier person for it. And don't be so demanding on your children. There's a German proverb that one mother can raise 10 children, but 10 children can't support one mother. When you did what you did as a mother, you never did it for any reward. Yes, of course, we always wish to have rewards. But if the children don't want to do anything for you. Just accept it. You've done your bit as a mother, and they will have children and do their own bit as parents. So please learn this. Mind your own business. Focus on other activities in the society to make you happy. When they want you, they will come for you. Because what I see these days is almost tragic. You see mothers-in-law, when their grandchildren are about to be born, they have all these plans, how the grandchildren will come to them, spend time with them. But the young people of these days, they will not even let you touch the child the first few months. Or they will give you all the rules and restrictions. So for you not to get disappointed, draw all the boundaries, and stay on your own side of the border. If they want to come to you, good and well. If not, then let it be. See, someone like me, I wouldn't even be going to do anything like going to my children's house unannounced or without invitation. And I'll make my visits very rare so that I maintain my self-esteem and pride, because I can't have struggled through life all these years and go and put myself in the middle of a cocktail between a young man and his wife. And don't you ever believe what these men are saying. These are sons, they use their wives a lot as excuse. But whatever is happening in that home, believe you me, they are very, very much a part of it. But they just use their wife as an excuse. Yeah, I have to discuss it with my wife. I don't know if my wife will like it. And that way they are knocking heads together, because you will be thinking that your daughter-in-law is opposing you or against you. But you don't know your son is just being smart and diplomatic. Learn not to give advice when it's not called for. Young people have their way of living. They have their own way of doing things. And they have to make their mistakes. So, as difficult as it is, don't give advice. A lot of young people, they even resent it when you come with advice. They really, really resent it. And they are very rebellious. Once you give advice, they'll try to do exactly the opposite to prove that it works. So don't give unsolicited advice. Even when they seek your advice, be very, very restrained in advice. Sometimes your son would come and complain about his wife. My wife did this, my wife did that. You give advice, but you don't know that he's going back, and that night he'll be telling his wife, yeah, even my mother said this, even my mother said that. And that's the way the enmity comes. So when your son is complaining about his wife, even if you see those complaints are justified, be very restrained and diplomatic. Let him figure it out himself. Because even if that marriage breaks up, and it should rightly break up, they'll still blame you and say, oh, we could have somehow managed it. So don't give unsolicited advice. And even when advising, be very, very restrained. Also with your daughter-in-law. Sometimes they may come, do you know how to do this with a baby or this? You don't know. Everything keeps changing. A few years ago, they would say, lie the baby on the back. Next year, it's lie the baby on the stomach. Then lie the baby on the side. Everything keeps changing in the world. So who are you to advise them? They can read books. They can Google it. You can only say, well, in my time, we did it this way. But I don't know how it is today. Be very restrained with advice, because people often come to you for advice and then they resent you for that advice you give. So just don't give advice. And when you have to, think about it, turn it around in your head and think of what implication it could have. That way, you will not be drawn into their arguments, or nobody will blame you tomorrow for this breakup of their home. And finally, show sympathy and empathy for your daughter-in-law, because she's no different from your other kids or your kid. In fact, she may even be better behaved than your own daughters, if you have daughters. The difference is just that she doesn't love you as a mother, which is somehow natural because you are not her mother, and she needs to get used to you. She needs to get used to you and trust you, because she's already coming into that marriage. Just like every young woman with this idea, mothers-in-law are the problem. So show some sympathy and empathy for your daughter-in-law. She will never be as good as a woman you would want for your son, but she was good enough for him. She would never be you. She will never meet your standard, because everybody wants the best for their children. But she was good enough for your son. So support that marriage by showing sympathy and empathy with her. Don't just wait there for the first mistake, the first signal for you to jump in. No. She's probably a nice person and a very loving wife. And by getting involved or going in with negativity, you're not giving that marriage a chance. So show sympathy and empathy with her, even for her failures. She mustn't cook like you. She mustn't keep her house like you. She mustn't be as hardworking as you were. But don't judge her. Just let her be and give her time to fit into those shoes. We took time too to get there. So with sympathy and empathy, it would help the daughter-in-law, mother-in-law relationship a lot. And finally, always remember, yes, your son gave her the ring on his wedding day, but that crown of motherhood, no one is taking it off your head. So carry it with dignity and pride, and let these young people do their thing.